Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Vermont's preeminent home horticulture and gardening program is offering a unique opportunity. It's for anyone who's interested in expanding their knowledge on everything from food and flowers to plants and pests. The Extension Master Gardener program has just opened up registration for its state conference, which is taking place on November 2nd at the Shelburne Museum. To learn more about the conference and its benefits, we've called on the statewide coordinator of the Master Gardener program. Joining me is Beret Halverson. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll have a few more guests here. But first, tell us a bit about the Master Gardener program and how the idea came about for a conference.
Sure. So the Master Gardener program is a statewide program, and it extends the research from the university out into communities by teaching people about sustainable gardening practices using research-based information.
Fantastic. And I know some people have been through it that just love it. And the idea for the conference, it's just 3 years old, right?
Yeah, it's just 3 years old, and the idea came about because we surveyed our active volunteers who work out in the community teaching the information that we provide them, and they thought it would be a great idea to get together once a year and have an annual conference to learn more about sustainable gardening. Fantastic.
So what can people expect? What kind of things are you offering this year?
So we have a great speaker lineup, which we'll hear more about.
Okay.
And we also have the conference at the Shelburne Museum, which we're really excited about. It's a great venue, really modern building, beautiful facilities, and they're also a partner of ours on a Master Gardener project.
So volunteers help work there? At the museum.
They work at the museum gardens, and so it's a nice partnership that they're able to provide the facility for us.
Right, fantastic. So who should attend, and what are some logistics people might want to know?
So it's open to everybody, the general public and Master Gardeners, and if you're part of the general public, you can come to the museum, and it's $70. To attend in person, but if you live far away and you still want to attend, we do, for the first time this year, we're offering an online option. And
fantastic.
You can watch online for $58, so it's a little bit cheaper.
Okay, so, but still very reasonable. So it's great that you're offering these two ways to attend, both in person and online, and I'll reiterate a little bit of information while we switch out a little bit, so thank you, Bret. So some of the basics of the Master Gardener State Conference is being held on Saturday, November 2nd at the Shelburne Museum. To learn more and to register for the conference, you can go to the website listed on your screen, and it is uvm.edu/extension/Master Gardener, and I think then conference will be right there. There will be a link to the state conference there. So as Bret mentioned, there will be a wide range of speakers and topics. To get a preview, I am joined by one of the organizers and one of the speakers. Karen Burke is a Master Gardener from Colchester who's been lining up speakers, including Vic Izzo. Is that right, Izzo?
Izzo.
Izzo, sorry.
Some people say Izzo, it's fine.
Izzo, and Vic is a teacher and researcher at UVM's Plant and Soil Science Department. Thank you both for coming in. It's fantastic. So Karen, let's start with you. The theme of the conference this year is caring for people, plants, and our planet. Tell us who's speaking and how some of their topics might support that theme.
Okay. Victor Izzo and Ann Hazelrig, both in the Plant and Soil Science Department at the UVM, will start by talking about plant pests and diseases in a changing climate.
Right, and we've seen Ann on this program many times, which is great.
And how to control these with integrated pest management to have less negative effect on our backyard ecosystems.
Okay.
And then Matthew Benson is a photographer, writer, and organic farmer from New York City and the Hudson River Valley. His talk on growing beautiful food will be illustrated by his gorgeous photographs. A gardener's joy in his garden is enhanced when the garden is aesthetically pleasing. Julie Moir-Maservi studied at Wesley, MIT, and Japan. Before setting up her design studio in Bellows Falls, Vermont. She has created landscapes of natural beauty and meaning throughout the U.S. and Canada, and will teach us how to do this for ourselves.
Right.
After a career in the computer industry in California, Gary Oppenheimer moved to New Jersey and became a master gardener. As an environmental commissioner and director of community gardens, his concern for food waste and the environment grew, and he founded ampleharvest.com to connect gardeners with local food shelves.
So a lot of interesting, very, very varied things going on here.
Currently, half the food raised in the United States is wasted. While the food shelves have limited hours and no refrigeration. So his coordination allows food shelves to provide fresh fresh produce in addition to dry and canned food. And then Charlie Nardozzi will wrap things up.
Of course, everybody knows Charlie.
He studied horticulture at UVM, and he's been teaching the public about gardening ever since. He will define natives, invasives, and weeds and discuss the overlap of these categories, and then teach us how to control the plants out of place without upsetting the whole ecosystem.
Right. All right. Well, that's fantastic. So, and Vic, you are one of the presenters. So a little bit about, you'll be talking about entomology, bugs, which is great.
Just bugs, insects. Bugs are not all.
That's right.
Insects or bugs. No, it's fine. It's fine.
But this is good for us to know, and for me to know, certainly. Yeah. So what does it mean to you to be able to address a group like this?
So it's incredibly inspiring for me with Master Gardeners. From my perspective, they're kind of the conduit by which a lot of the information and the research and the knowledge from UVM, how it gets passed out to the greater community. I primarily work with farmers, and when I got asked to be a part of the Master Gardener Education Program, it really was exciting because they're the ones that are communicating a lot of stuff to their peers, and you learn a lot easier and more apt to adopt things if you're actually learning from your peers and getting that knowledge from your peers. So it's really exciting to be able to address that population, and because much of the land, we think about farmers as being a part of kind of land management, but all these gardens throughout the landscape,
they're all over the place, so they have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
So how will the information that you're presenting to help gardeners and the general public, I mean, how does it help all of us, certainly in Vermont and just, everyday gardeners?
Well, it's kind of like in bits and pieces. For gardeners, the strategies are a lot different than you would at a large scale. So what we like to stress as educators for the garden scale is being able to first identify pests. What is doing this? I see an insect and I see some damage. How can I tie those two things together?
Right.
Well, because
or
you see
is it
one
that
thing,
insect?
Or is it, exactly.
Or not.
Or not. Or is it causing that? And the same thing with disease. I learned a ton also from Anne. We do a lot of talks and conferences together. And so what I see as my role to present at the Master Gardener is not only to provide people the tools to be able to identify and deal with their pests, but also, as the actual title of the talk is around climate change.
Right.
So trying to understand how more vulnerable we are now that we're having more pest outbreaks and kind of all the effects of climate change. How can we adapt to that also?
Right.
So that's kind of like the whole crux of the talk.
Fantastic, and that certainly fits within the topic that you're doing. So Karen, what is it that what do you expect folks might come away from? I mean, if they're going to sign up and go, what might they walk away with?
Well, I hope they're going to be energized and inspired, and they'll have a greater appreciation for how their garden choices affect the environment. They'll have some specific knowledge about garden pests and diseases and weeds, and how to create peaceful natural environments, and about sharing their produce with their neighbors. And hopefully they'll form new connections with garden friends from around the state. The conference is a great opportunity to network with like-minded individuals who share a passion for gardening, and to learn more about the Master Gardener program.
Well, just on that, so you became a Master Gardener kind of later in life. It's a passion of yours. What has it done for you personally?
I decided I should turn my hobby into something a little bit more, because I've been gardening for a long time, but I've learned so much since, and I've really enjoyed my work at the Shelburne Museum and with Mark Starrett at the university. I've just learned a lot, and through other contacts I tell people about what I've learned, and they appreciate it.
Right. Well, Shelburne Museum, what a great spot. I think that, and aren't there volunteers from the Master Gardening program there? I mean, it sounds like you've worked there.
I was a regular volunteer at the museum for 5 years before I became a Master Gardener. And now I have a project at the museum, and we have 6 Master Gardeners, but mostly working on the welcome garden. But sometimes we finish our work early and we get to teach and learn about other gardens.
Oh, okay. And Vic, back to you again. Let's talk a little bit about just this theme. We have 1 extra minute. So talk about the climate change piece and why it's important for everyday gardeners and/or master gardeners to really understand the dynamics that climate change brings us.
Yeah. So as the climate has been changing over the last 20 years or so, we're starting to see a lot of invasive pests that normally wouldn't be able to overwinter here in Vermont.
Right.
And not only that, they're having more generations in a single year. And so understanding that you need to protect your vegetables or whatever flowers that you're growing farther into the season. Today it's going to be 80 degrees, right? Normally there are a lot of insects that are going to be around still active that wouldn't be previously. In say 20 years ago. And so really understanding that our entire strategy about when to start trying to protect your vegetables and deal with pests, and how long they're going to extend to outside the season or into the winter possibly. Especially with disease too, as we're going to have more, Ann could speak to this too, as we're going to have a lot more rain, and the forecast is that we're going to have a lot more rain and a lot more humidity, that's going to increase the amount of disease too. So this is really about understanding how vulnerable we are and how to adapt to that.
Right, fantastic. It sounds like there's a great variety of information that you can get, and you're invited to this conference. Let's just make sure, let's re-highlight about how this all works and how you can sign up. The Master Gardener State Conference. It's being held on Saturday, November 2nd at Shelburne Museum. You should sign up, and to get more information and to register, you go to uvm.edu/extension/Master Gardener and click on the link to the state conference. Karen Burke and Vic Izzo.
Izzo, yeah.
Izzo, good at this one. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thanks to our Master Gardener Coordinator, Beret Halverson, who was with us earlier. It was great to have you here, and hopefully some of you will sign up for this wonderful conference. And thank you for joining us across the fence once again. I'm Fran Stoddard.